Hello there, it's Suzanne in Ohio. Again, I think this is my third video for today. I'm making a big effort to get caught up after I've been very busy moving. So I want to get back into the flow of things, and thank you for tuning in and watching. This particular video is about this Fabric Arts layout here. You could go back and watch a couple of my other videos that bring you up to this point, but I'll explain a little bit about how this came about. I knew I wanted to make a garden layout, and I wanted it to be able to be used for either a small wall hanging, which I put hanging corners on it right here, and you just put a bamboo skewer in between the two, and it hangs on the wall. Or it could be used as a book cover, such as a needle book cover or a journal cover. And I want it to look real nice all the way around. So for either or, what I had in mind was a small insert and a layout that brought everything together. Now, I'll speak about this just real quick. I made this little insert here, and I talked a lot about others that I've made and how I made it on my previous video if you want to look that up. But just to give you an idea, I started out making the little insert first, and I knew that I would border it off and put it on there. You can see how easy that worked. It was just wonderful. So I enjoyed making that so much that I ended up making several, and my other video shows about that. Like, here's another one. That's how that would look. This one would also look good on this layout. And if you're doing collage work, fabric arts, journal covers, needlebook covers, tote bags, anything, you can use this method, and you end up with such a cute effect. So I had made these inserts, and this insert, and I had a vague idea of the layout, but not exactly. Things develop as you work on them, right? But this is what I want to talk about today, these two elements here, the watering can and the terracotta pots. Now, you could do a needle turn applique or something there, or you might have a piece of fabric that already has a focal point on it, and that's fine. But I didn't, and I wanted to create this patchwork background, which you can easily see there, and I want to do a lot of slow stitch on it. So I did that first with a vague idea in mind, with greens at the bottom, some blues at the top, and neutrals in the middle. And I wanted to have some focal points. And this is just too small and tiny of a work for me to take the time for needle turned applique. So I had these images in my computer, and they were copies of my original watercolor or Inktense drawings. So what I did was print them out on fabric, and I forget what I actually printed. Well, maybe just plain cotton, but I got to worrying about it being too frail to hold the stitches around the edge. So it took me down a rabbit hole, and I'm going to show you some ideas I came up with and some fails that I had. But this looks beautiful here. It works wonderful. You can put a little bit of fabric glue under it for some stability. However, I did not. You could also use Wonder Under or that mesh product that's really just a glue. But they're all, the shapes are so small that would have even been a problem. So I was trying to come up with a different idea of how to make a more stable applique, and that's what I call these. These are appliques because they're appliqued on. I printed them, I cut them out, and I appliqued them on. Now in this case I did it all by hand. But let me show you where this idea took me. I've got a box of stuff here in no particular order. And let me just show you what I've got to work with to create my next piece. I had some old pieces of that, they're called t-shirt transfer. It's ready to print. It's a plasticized something, and you print on it and then you iron it on. So you do have to reverse it if it has text on it. And I thought, well, that would work good. However, it does have this very slight shining effect to it. Now, that doesn't bother me, but it might bother someone else. Hey, and in this case, this was a Tracy Fox download that I purchased, and it was birds. And I sized it so that my birds would come out to a usable size. You know, and I could even attach a bird or something like that right onto, like he's standing on the edge of that terracotta pot. Now, how cute would that be? So this is t-shirt print. And so I also had a t-shirt print paper for black. It comes in a combination. You can print on white fabric or you can print on black. Be sure and read your instructions very carefully because it's a totally different method to put it on the black. But I printed out a page of my feathers, and you can see here, well, there's a hair, I'm sorry. And you can see here that I've cut the feathers out, and that plasticized feel to them and the fabric on the back makes them very stable. They're still thin, and I'm sure my needle will go through them around the edge, or you could do free motion sewing if you want to have that look. But I like hand stitching, so I'll be hand stitching these onto something. And then back to this one. Where did I put my bird here? So if you're creating a layout, get your basic ideas and then expand your thinking. I could have a bird there, and I could have one of his feathers down here along the edge of the ground. So you can see how a collage can grow and the ideas you can come up with. So to recap, t-shirt transfers. I think this old pack I found at the thrift store, and it worked wonderful, and I'll be doing more of that. I also printed out, let's see, who's this from? Well, I wrote that, so I don't remember what Etsy seller this was. But this was some postage stamps, botanical, one of them has fish and everything. But I forgot to mirror image it. So I'm not going to be able to use these on what I wanted to in the beginning, but what I'm going to do is cut out the cute, usable little images, and then I'll be able to apply them to any piece of fabric art that I'm working on. Now, I tried another idea. I did not like it, and believe me, I tried it every way, shape, or form. I was trying Mod Podge as something to give me a stronger image. So here's a print where I printed the terracotta pots, a whole page full of them in different sizes. And this is plain. I haven't done anything to that, but I added Mod Podge according to the directions on the lower half. Well, it does make it stiff, almost too stiff. And I don't like the feel of it. So I have a lot of those that I don't know if I'll find a place to use them, but I'm not throwing them away. Remember, you can't throw anything away. And here's a piece that I printed. These were in my computer, my images, antique songbook pages, and antique postcards. And that's printed on that prepared to print fabric that you can buy in the quilt section. And let me just show you these. Here's what it looks like cut out. And you can see I could have used this one because the color came out better. It's not quite as stiff. So I could have used that, but I already had used this one. So you can tell I'm undecided. Now, I painted these watering cans, a whole series of them, 8 of them, a good while ago. And all the images are in my computer. So I just went in and enlarged or shrank them to whatever I thought would be a usable size. And again, these are Mod Podged. And I had original print, like a calendar print, of this bunny, painted in Denmark, no doubt, because all those famous artists in Denmark, and the date on it was 1502. Now, I also had some watercolor images that I had done of berry brambles. And I printed them out and I tried the Mod Podge. And I will probably use these even though they're not as sharp and clear as I had intended. But this would make a wonderful background. And let me tell you what my ideas are. Even though this is one image, by the time I shrink it and flip it and turn it, and I can squeeze it or I can elongate it, then I can layer these around and about, and it will just look like a whole bramble bush. And my idea was to do the bramble bush thing with this antique bunny in the brambles. And I will probably be starting that real soon. I also have an image that I painted of cut leaf coneflowers. And that would make a nice addition to a collage. So it is the same image, but by the time you cut them out, layer them, overlap them, arrange them, and flip them. You know, don't forget to flip them. And that way they print different and the brain thinks they're totally different. I can create a coneflower stalk and collage my coneflower on the top of it. So that's a project waiting to happen. Have many of those already cut out. Here's my fails. I tried different things. Let's turn it over. It blurred the image. The Mod Podge blurred the image. And then I thought, well, I'll line draw around it to bring it back to life. And then the pen wouldn't slide very smooth on the Mod Podge. And whatever. Total fail. Now I have another piece here for a background. This is a handwritten poem by my Aunt Bee, who has now gone on to glory. And it's all about flowers and birds. And I'll make that part of the background. Let me show you how that might end up looking, because it looks so cute with, this would be a wonderful background. some of these are all wrinkled and bent. I can position these along the edge and have a coneflower coming up here. And then I could set a watering can over here. I could, where's my bird? Ooh, this is a good opportunity for a bird. I've got such a mess now I can't find anything. But I could do a watering can over here and make that bird sitting on top of the watering can. So you could see how I could easily create a beautiful collage with some meaning to it. I would position this on another one of those collage backgrounds that look like patchwork and then mount this on top of it. But all in all, what did I learn? Well, I learned that what I think I should do, instead of trying to recreate the wheel, is go back to this t-shirt transfer product. I like it even better than the prepared for printing fabric, because this is not fabric. It's a piece of glossy, plasticky something, and you iron it onto fabric. So I like the feel of this better. I surmise that it would hold up better and be easier to work with than even the prepared to print fabric. Although there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you have, use it. But there's my pieces and parts, and that's how I came up with this collage. But I was trying to improve on the ideas, and because I have several more images, we get into midsummer, and I have watermelon images and pumpkin images, and I hope to do, this is spring, so I hope to do a summer, fall, and then perhaps winter, because I have some, what am I trying to say, pine trees and pine cone images that I could print off. But so many things to do and not enough time to do everything I want to do. But I hope this will spark you not only for the tiny little collages, the mini collages, which you can see more about on my other video. For instance, there's one of an ivy leaf, and I have several I showed in another video. But try this technique of an insert, different people call them different things. And remember, you can make a book cover out of it, and that would make a really wonderful little sewing book or journal cover. You would have to make the inside and put them together and put your pages in. But it was so fun to do it, and as always, I don't mind my fails. I very seldom end up throwing anything away, but I find a use and it takes me into the next avenue of creativity. Well, there you have it. This will be in my Etsy site real soon as I have enough daylight to take a good picture. But I hope this has inspired you. I hope you're creating. And don't forget, creative people live longer. Thank you for watching. Comment and ask questions below if you need to know anything. I'm happy to get back to you. And now that I am moved, I can keep up with my videos and my comments more timely. Thanks for watching. Bye.